You won't believe how unpredictable life can be, even for the brightest stars in Hollywood. Fame, fortune, and talent didn't protect these icons from bizarre twists of fate that ended their lives in ways no one could have imagined. From shocking accidents to tragic mistakes, these stories remind us that even legends can be taken by the smallest, most unexpected moments. Today, we uncover 7 Hollywood stars whose freak accidents left fans stunned and the world of entertainment forever changed. 1. Bob Saget. For millions of Americans, Bob Saget was America's dad. He brought warmth and laughter into countless homes as Danny Tanner on Full House, then made audiences laugh again with his cheeky stand-up comedy, and as the host of America's Funniest Home Videos. But his death in January 2022 was nothing anyone could have expected. After a comedy performance in Florida, Saget returned to his hotel room at the Ritz-Carlton near Orlando. The next morning, he was found unresponsive in bed. At first, people feared drugs or foul play, but the truth was even more heartbreaking. An autopsy revealed he had suffered a severe blow to the back of his head, likely from accidentally hitting it on a piece of furniture. Thinking it wasn't serious, he went to sleep and never woke up. The world was left in shock. A man who brought so much joy, undone by something so simple, so silent. Bob Saget's tragic passing was a reminder that sometimes the smallest accidents can take away the biggest personalities. 2. John Denver. John Denver was the voice of the mountains, a folk pop icon whose songs like Take Me Home, Country Roads, and Rocky Mountain High became timeless American anthems. With his golden voice and gentle spirit, Denver embodied peace, nature, and a sense of home for millions of fans around the world. But his passion for flying became the stage for his final tragedy. On October 12, 1997, Denver was piloting his experimental plane, a small, long-easy aircraft, over Monterey Bay in California. He was practicing touch-and-go landings, a maneuver he had done before. Yet, on this day, a critical design flaw changed everything. The fuel switch for the plane was located awkwardly behind the pilot's seat, forcing him to twist his body mid-flight. Investigators believe that as Denver reached back to adjust it, he accidentally pressed the rudder, sending the plane into a sudden, uncontrollable dive. In seconds, the aircraft slammed into the bay, killing him instantly at just 53 years old. Fans across the world were devastated. A man who sang about freedom, open skies, and the beauty of nature met his end in the very skies he loved so deeply. John Denver's death was not only a heartbreaking loss to music, but also a chilling reminder of how passion and danger can collide in an instant. 3. Helena Hutchins. Helena Hutchins was not a household name to the public, but in Hollywood, she was a rising star behind the camera. A gifted cinematographer with a bold vision, she had already made her mark with powerful images and a reputation for her creativity and leadership on set. At just 42 years old, her career was poised to soar. But on October 25, 2021, while working on the Western film Rust in New Mexico, tragedy struck in a way that still shocks Hollywood today. Hutchins was setting up a scene inside a small church when actor Alec Baldwin rehearsed with what was believed to be a safe, prop revolver. He aimed the gun during the setup and pulled the trigger. In an instant, chaos erupted. A live round had somehow made its way into the chamber. The bullet struck Hutchins in the chest, fatally wounding her. She collapsed as cast and crew screamed for help. Despite being rushed toward medical care, she died before reaching the hospital. The entertainment industry was shaken to its core. How, in the 21st century, could a live bullet end up in a prop gun on a movie set? Her death sparked outrage, lawsuits, and deep questions about safety in filmmaking. Helena Hutchins came to the United States with dreams of shaping cinema, but instead, her life ended on the very set where she was creating art. A rising talent, extinguished in the most senseless way imaginable. 4. Jack Cassidy. Jack Cassidy was the very definition of old-school Hollywood charm. A Tony Award-winning Broadway star, a captivating television actor, and the father of teen idols David and Sean Cassidy. He was adored for his charisma and golden voice. To fans, he seemed destined to shine forever under the spotlight. But behind the glitter, Cassidy wrestled with personal demons, including alcoholism and mental health struggles. Those battles set the stage for a fiery tragedy that no one could have predicted. In the early hours of December 12th, 1976, Cassidy fell asleep on his living room couch in West Hollywood, a cigarette still burning between his fingers. Moments later, flames tore through the room. By the time firefighters arrived, it was already too late. The blaze consumed everything, leaving Cassidy's body so badly burned that authorities had to confirm his identity through dental records. The man who once lit up Broadway was reduced to ashes in his own home. To friends and fans, his death felt like the closing act of a personal drama that had played out too painfully in real life. Jack Cassidy wasn't taken by scandal, nor by the stage, but by a single careless spark that turned his success into smoke and silence. 5. Joe Spinell. Joe Spinell was one of those unforgettable faces you never forgot on screen. He was the gritty mobster in The Godfather, the tough loan shark in Rocky, and the kind of actor who could make even a small role feel larger than life. He built his career playing villains, the menacing presence you loved to hate, but his real-life ending was more brutal and lonely than any script he ever acted in. On January 13th, 1989, Spinell was at home in his modest New York apartment. While showering, he slipped and crashed into his glass shower door. The glass shattered, slicing deep into his skin. Instead of calling for help, he tried to make it to his couch. Hours passed as he bled heavily, unable to get the assistance he desperately needed. By the time anyone found him, Joe Spinell was gone. A Hollywood tough guy taken not by a gangster's bullet, but by a freak household accident. The irony was devastating. He had stood alongside legends like Al Pacino and Sylvester Stallone, survived cinematic shootouts and mob wars on screen. Yet in real life, a simple slip in the bathroom ended his story. His death was shocking, unceremonious, and haunting. A reminder that even the strongest figures can be felled by the smallest missteps. 6. Buddy Clark. In the 1940s, Buddy Clark was one of America's most beloved voices. Smooth, romantic, and effortlessly charming, he won the hearts of millions with songs like Linda and How Are Things in Glamour. His golden voice made him a star of the big band era, a household name whose music carried the optimism of a nation. But on October 1st, 1949, at just 37 years old, his life came to a violent and shocking end. That day, Clark had delivered a triumphant radio performance alongside the Andrews Sisters. Riding high on success, he joined friends for a celebratory flight in a small private plane leaving from Los Angeles. The joy didn't last. Somewhere over Beverly Boulevard, the plane ran out of fuel, the engine sputtered, altitude dropped, and there was no time to recover. The aircraft crashed in a residential area of West Los Angeles, killing Buddy Clark instantly. The world was stunned. Just hours earlier, he had been singing live on air, his voice full of life, and then, without warning, he was gone. Betrayed not by scandal or illness, but by something as mundane as an empty fuel tank. A star who soared through music was grounded forever, leaving behind a silence that even his greatest hits could never fill. Glenn Shadix. Glenn Shadix was unforgettable. With his booming voice, eccentric energy, and scene-stealing presence, he became a cult favorite in films like Beetlejuice, and as the voice of the mayor in The Nightmare Before Christmas. Fans adored him for his flamboyant style and offbeat humor. He brought characters to life with a mix of charm and quirkiness that was entirely his own. But in September 2010, his life ended in a way that felt cruelly ordinary. At his condo in Birmingham, Alabama, Shattuck suffered a fall in his kitchen. One misstep sent his head crashing against the sink, causing fatal blunt force trauma. Just like that, the man who had given life to some of cinema's most eccentric figures was gone. There were no cameras, no applause, no theatrical exit, only silence. Friends and fans were devastated. How could someone so vibrant, so full of theatrical spark, be taken in such a mundane, tragic way? Glenn Shattuck's death was absurdly uncinematic, yet heartbreakingly real, leaving behind an emptiness that echoed through the worlds of film and theater. These 7 stories prove one haunting truth. No matter how famous, talented, or beloved, life can be taken in the blink of an eye by the most unexpected twists of fate. From Bob Saget's quiet fall to John Denver's tragic crash, from Helena Hutchins' on-set accident to the fiery and sudden losses of stars, like Jack Cassidy and Glenn Shattuck's. Each tale is a reminder of just how fragile life really is. Hollywood often writes larger-than-life endings, but reality writes its own scripts. One's more shocking and heartbreaking than anything on screen. If these stories moved you, share this video with others, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more untold and unforgettable Hollywood stories. Sometimes the truth is stranger, and far more tragic, than fiction.